Lisa Carter sat in the cold metal chair and looked around the huge meeting room. The Galactic Council station was always too bright and too loud for her taste. 12 different alien species filled the circular chamber, each one thinking they were better than the others. Lisa represented Earth, and most days that felt like being the smallest kid in a room full of bullies. The station floated in space above Kepler Prime, a world that nobody really owned. It was neutral ground where all the different aliens could meet without starting wars. Lisa had been coming here for 3 years now, ever since she became Earth's ambassador. She still felt small every time she walked into this room. Chairman Vextar stood up at the center of the chamber. He was 8 feet tall with green scales and yellow eyes that never seemed to blink. His people, the Saurians, had been running the council for over 100 years. They thought they were the smartest and strongest race in the galaxy. Most of the other species agreed with them, or at least pretended to. The emergency session will now begin, Vextar said in his deep, rumbling voice. We face a threat unlike any we have seen before. The Void Swarm has begun attacking worlds on the outer rim. Lisa felt her stomach drop. She had heard whispers about the Void Swarm for weeks. Some said they were machines. Others said they were living creatures that ate everything in their path. Nobody seemed to know for sure what they were, but everyone agreed they were dangerous. Admiral Kane from the Centauri Federation slammed his fist on his desk. The Centauri looked almost human except for their blue skin and silver hair. They had the biggest military in the galaxy and never let anyone forget it. 3 colonies have been completely destroyed, Kane said. The swarm doesn't just kill everything, it consumes it. Ships, people, even the planets themselves. Nothing is left behind. Whispers filled the chamber as the different species talked, among themselves. Lisa saw fear in their eyes. Even the proud Saurians looked worried. If something could scare these powerful aliens, it had to be really bad. Vextar raised his hand for silence. The outer rim worlds were defended by local fleets. They lasted less than 6 hours against the swarm. We must act quickly, or the attacks will move toward core worlds. Every member species must contribute their most advanced warships to create a defense fleet. Lisa knew what was coming next. This was always how these meetings went. The big, powerful species would pledge their newest ships and weapons. Then they would look at Earth and expect almost nothing. Humans were considered the weak link in the council. They provided food and raw materials while everyone else handled the important work like defense and technology. One by one, the species made their announcements. The Saurians would send 50 battlecruisers. The Centauri promised 100 fighters and 20 destroyers. The insect-like hive queens offered their swarm ships. Even the peaceful Etherians said they would provide their defensive technology. Finally, all eyes turned to Lisa. She stood up slowly, feeling the weight of their stares. Earth will contribute 3 patrol ships, she said quietly. The silence that followed was worse than shouting would have been. Then Admiral Kane started laughing. It was not a nice laugh. Other aliens joined in, and soon the whole chamber was filled with the sound of mockery. 3 patrol ships? Kane said between laughs. From the entire human military? Are you joking? Vextar's yellow eyes fixed on Lisa. Ambassador Carter, surely Earth can do better than this. The outer colonies have more ships than that. Lisa felt her face turn red, but she kept her voice steady. 3 ships is what Earth can spare at this time. Spare? Kane stood up, his blue face dark with anger. The galaxy is about to be consumed by an unstoppable enemy and you can only spare 3 outdated patrol boats? Your people don't even have real weapons on those ships. Other aliens began shouting their agreement. The Hive Queen clicked her mandibles in what Lisa knew was their version of laughter. The tall, gray observers just stared with their huge black eyes, but Lisa could tell they were judging her too. Vextar slammed his staff on the floor, making a sound like thunder. This is unacceptable. For 50 years, Earth has been protected by this council. You have enjoyed the benefits of our technology and our protection. And now, when we need you most, you offer almost nothing. Lisa stood her ground even though her hands were shaking. Earth has always honored its agreements with the council. We provide food for 17 worlds and raw materials for dozens of others. We have never asked for more than basic protection in return. Basic protection, Kane shouted. Your entire planet would be conquered in a day without our fleets watching over you? And you think 3 tiny ships is a fair contribution? The chamber erupted in angry voices. Species that usually hated each other were all agreeing on one thing. Humans were useless. Lisa had heard it all before, but it still hurt. Earth was seen as a backward world full of primitive people who could barely manage space travel. Vextar raised his staff again, and the noise slowly died down. The Council has been patient with Earth's limitations, he said. But this crisis demands real sacrifice from every member. If humanity cannot contribute meaningful military support, perhaps it is time to reconsider Earth's membership in this alliance. Lisa felt ice in her veins. Being kicked out of the Council would mean losing all protection. Earth would be alone in a dangerous galaxy, and when the Void Swarm came, there would be no help. You have 48 hours, Vextar continued. Return to your government and explain the situation. If Earth cannot provide real military assistance, the Council will vote to end our protection agreement. You will face the Void Swarm on your own. The other ambassadors were already standing up to leave. Lisa heard them talking quietly about how Earth was finally showing its true nature. They called humans cowards and weaklings. Some suggested that losing Earth might actually make the galaxy safer, since they would not have to waste resources protecting such a useless world. Lisa walked slowly back to her quarters on the station. Her small room felt even smaller now, with its basic furniture and single window looking out at the stars. She sat at her desk and pulled out what looked like an old communication device. The other species always laughed at human technology. They said it was clunky and primitive compared to their sleek devices. She typed a message to Earth using the ancient-looking keyboard. The message was very short, just 3 words that would change everything. Authorization code Omega. After sending the message, Lisa sat back in her chair and looked out at the stars. For 50 years, Earth had played the part of the weak, grateful member of the galactic community. The other species saw exactly what humans wanted them to see, a primitive world that needed protection and guidance. But some secrets were too big to keep forever. And when the galaxy was about to be destroyed, maybe it was time for Earth to stop pretending. President John Parker was having a quiet morning in the Oval Office when his secretary rushed in without knocking. That never happened unless something was very wrong. She held a red folder in her hands, the kind that meant emergency communications, from space. "Sir, we have an urgent message from Ambassador Carter," she said, placing the folder on his desk. It came through the quantum channel. John opened the folder and read the 3 words inside. His coffee cup fell from his hand and shattered on the floor. Authorization code Omega. He had hoped he would never see those words. He had prayed that Earth's long game would never need to end. Within 10 minutes, 3 people sat across from John in the most secure room in the White House. General Susan Hayes commanded Earth's real military forces. Admiral Rick Stone led the space fleet that officially did not exist. Dr. Amy Foster ran what the aliens thought was just Earth's agricultural research division. "The Galactic Council is threatening to kick us out," John said, reading from Lisa's full report. "They want us to contribute real military ships to fight something called the Void Swarm. When Lisa told them we could only spare 3 patrol ships, they gave us 48 hours to come up with more or lose all protection." General Hayes leaned forward. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her eyes were sharp as knives. "How many worlds has this swarm destroyed?" 3 outer rim colonies. Complete destruction, nothing left behind. John set down the report. "The Council species are scared, really scared, and they think Earth is useless." Admiral Stone laughed, but there was no humor in it. Useless. If only they knew. He was a tall man with calm eyes who had spent his entire career preparing for a war he hoped would never come. "What are our orders, Mr. President?" John stood up and walked to the window. He could see the Washington Monument from here, but his mind was on the secret bases hidden throughout the solar system. "For 200 years, we've been playing weak. The aliens think we're grateful little farmers who can barely build a spaceship. They have no idea what we've really been doing," Dr. Foster spoke up. She was younger than the others, with short brown hair and glasses that made her look like a college professor. "The Agricultural Research Division has been very successful," she said with a slight smile. "We've had access to samples of every alien technology for 50 years. Food exports are such a wonderful cover for intelligence gathering. What have we learned? John asked, though he already knew the answer would change everything. Their technology is impressive but limited, Amy said. They think in straight lines. Humans think in circles and spirals and dimensions they can't imagine. Give us their faster-than-light drive, and we figure out how to travel between realities. Show us their energy weapons, and we learn to weaponize gravity itself. General Hayes pulled out a tablet and showed John a list of Earth's real military assets. We have 457 combat ships hidden in the asteroid belt and behind Jupiter's moons. The Council thinks our biggest ship is 200 meters long. Our smallest battleship is 800 meters long. The USS Liberty alone could probably take on the entire Centauri Federation fleet, Admiral Stone added. And we have 12 ships in the Liberty class. John felt the weight of the decision on his shoulders. If we reveal ourselves, there's no going back. The galaxy will know that Earth has been lying for 50 years. Some species might see that as a threat. Mr. President, Amy said quietly, with respect, some of us have been waiting our whole lives for this moment. We've been studying alien psychology along with their technology. Most council species are followers, not leaders. They look for the strongest power and align with it. Right now, they think that's the Saurians or the Centauri. But they're wrong. Admiral Stone nodded. Our ships don't just look more advanced than alien technology. They actually are more advanced. We took their science and improved it beyond what they thought was possible. Earth's primitive computers are quantum processors that work faster than anything the Council has ever seen. The communication device Lisa used to send the message? Amy smiled. It looks like something from our early 21st century. Actually, it can transmit messages instantly across the galaxy using folded space-time. The aliens' best communication systems have a 3-day delay between Earth and the Council station. John thought about all the times Earth had been insulted and dismissed by the Council. Humans were seen as the weak species that needed protection. The truth was that Earth had been protecting the galaxy for decades, just in secret. Human ships patrolled the dark spaces between stars, watching for threats that the Council never even knew existed. The Void Swarm, John said. What do we know about them? General Hayes consulted her tablet. Our long-range sensors detected them 6 months ago. We've been tracking their movement and studying their technology. They're not just destroying worlds randomly. They're moving in a specific pattern, heading for the galactic core. And the Council worlds are directly in their path, Admiral Stone added. If Earth stays hidden and lets the Council fall, the swarm will eventually reach us anyway. But we'll be alone and facing a much stronger enemy. Amy leaned back in her chair. There's something else. Our analysis suggests the Void Swarm isn't the real threat. They're scouts or maybe a cleanup crew. Something bigger is coming behind them. Something that wants the galaxy cleared out and ready. The room went quiet. John had known this day would come eventually. Earth couldn't hide forever, and the galaxy was full of dangers that would eventually find them. But he had hoped for more time to prepare, maybe another 50 years to build up their forces. How long would it take to move our fleet into position? He asked. 6 hours, Admiral Stone said immediately. We've been ready for this moment since the day we launched the first hidden ship. Every captain knows the revelation protocols. Every ship has been supplied and armed for immediate deployment. The aliens will be shocked, General Hayes said. For 50 years, they've seen exactly what we wanted them to see. 3 outdated patrol ships that can barely fight off pirates. They have no idea that those patrol ships are actually reconnaissance, vessels with sensors that can map an entire star system in minutes. John made his decision. Do it. Send Admiral Stone to the Council station with our real fleet. It's time to stop pretending to be weak. Amy smiled. Should we show them everything? Not everything, John said carefully. Show them enough to handle the Void Swarm and earn their respect, but keep our best secrets hidden. If there's something bigger coming after the swarm, we'll need those advantages later. Admiral Stone stood up. It will be my pleasure to see Admiral Kane's face when the Liberty decloaks right above his head. The Centauri think they have the biggest ships in the galaxy. They're about to learn they're wrong. Remember, John said as the meeting ended, we're not revealing ourselves to conquer or threaten anyone. We're doing this to save the galaxy. Earth has always been peaceful, and we want to keep it that way. But if something wants to destroy our neighbors, they'll have to go through us first. As the others left to begin the most important military operation in human history, John stayed at the window. Somewhere out there, Lisa was waiting on the council station, probably feeling alone and scared. In a few hours, she would see the most beautiful sight in the galaxy, Earth's true fleet emerging from the shadows to defend their friends. The aliens thought humans were weak farmers who needed protection. They were about to learn that Earth's greatest crop had always been secrets, and the harvest was finally ready. The 48 hours were up. Lisa Carter stood in the council chamber again, but this time she felt different. She was no longer the scared ambassador representing a weak world. She was about to become the herald of humanity's true nature. Chairman Vextar looked down at her with his cold yellow eyes. "Ambassador Carter, have you received a response from your government?" "I have," Lisa said calmly. "And what is Earth's decision? Will you provide real military support, or must we proceed with ending our protection agreement?" The other ambassadors leaned forward in their seats. Admiral Kane wore a smug expression on his blue face. He clearly expected Earth to beg for mercy, or maybe offer a few more old ships that would not help anyone. "Before I answer," Lisa said, "I want to make sure I understand the situation correctly. The Void Swarm has destroyed 3 worlds completely. Your combined fleets are preparing to fight an enemy that destroyed local defenses in under 6 hours, and you believe Earth's contribution of 3 patrol ships is insufficient for this task." Vexatar's scales rippled with annoyance. "Obviously insufficient. This is not a time for games, Ambassador. Give us your answer." Lisa reached into her jacket and pulled out her communication device. It looked like a simple, old-fashioned radio compared to the sleek alien technology around the room. Several ambassadors actually laughed when they saw it. "Admiral Stone," she said into the device, "you are cleared for Revelation Protocol." The chamber erupted in laughter. Admiral Kane slapped his desk with his hand. "Revelation Protocol? You, humans and your dramatic names for simple things. What will you reveal? That you found a 4th patrol ship somewhere?" The laughter stopped suddenly when every alarm on the station began screaming at once. Emergency lights flashed red throughout the chamber. The massive view screen at the center of the room activated automatically, showing the space around the station. At first, nothing looked different. Then shapes began appearing from nowhere. Ships. Hundreds of ships. They were not like anything the Council had ever seen. Where alien vessels were built for efficiency and function, the human ships looked like works of art made from metal and energy. They seemed to grow out of empty space itself, their hulls gleaming with some kind of protective field that made the space around them shimmer. The largest ship appeared directly above the station. It was enormous, easily 3 times the size of the biggest Saurian battlecruiser. Along its side, in letters that could be seen even from a distance, was written USS Liberty. The chamber fell completely silent. Ambassadors stared at the view screen with their mouths open. The insect-like Hive Queen made clicking sounds that Lisa knew meant extreme surprise. Even the usually calm observers were leaning forward in their chairs. "This is Admiral Rick Stone of the Terran Defense Fleet," came a voice over the station's communication system. "We come in peace, as we always have, but we come prepared for war if necessary." Admiral Kane finally found his voice. "That's impossible. Earth doesn't have ships like that. We monitor all human ship construction. We would know." Another voice joined the broadcast. "This is Dr. Amy Foster of Earth's Agricultural Research Division. Admiral Kane, you monitor the ship construction that we wanted you to see. Humans have been building our real fleet in locations your sensors cannot reach." Chairman Vextar stood up slowly, his yellow eyes wide. "How long?" he asked in a voice barely above a whisper. "How long have you been hiding this?" Lisa smiled. "For the first time in days. 200 years. Ever since we first made contact with galactic civilization, Earth has been playing a careful game. You saw exactly what we wanted you to see. A primitive world that needed guidance and protection. But why?" The question came from Ambassador Zara of the Peaceful Etherian Collective. "Why hide such capability?" "Because," Lisa said, "we learned early that the galaxy is full of species that judge others by their military strength. If we had revealed our true capabilities from the beginning, some of you would have seen us as a threat to be destroyed rather than a member to be welcomed." Admiral Stone's voice filled the chamber again. "We've been watching the galaxy for 2 centuries. We've seen how the strong prey on the weak. Earth chose to appear weak so we could learn and grow without becoming targets ourselves." Dr. Foster's voice was gentler. "Every sample of alien technology that Earth received through trade agreements was studied and improved. Your faster-than-light drives taught us to travel between dimensions. Your energy weapons showed us how to manipulate fundamental forces. Your defensive systems helped us develop matter phase technology." Admiral Kane was staring at the view screen where human ships continued to appear. "Matter phase technology? That's impossible. No species has ever managed to make ships that can become intangible." "Watch," Admiral Stone said simply. On the view screen, one of the human destroyers suddenly became translucent. A Centauri patrol ship that had been approaching it flew right through the human vessel as if it was made of ghost light. Then the human ship became solid again, appearing completely unharmed. "Your scientists said matter phase technology would require more energy than a star produces," Dr. Foster explained. "They were thinking too small. Humans learn to borrow energy from parallel dimensions. We don't need to generate power when we can access unlimited amounts from alternate realities." Vextar slowly sat back down, his massive frame seeming smaller somehow. "What else? What other technologies have you developed?" "Our sensors can track individual ships across 3 star systems," Admiral Stone said. "Our weapons can target specific molecules in an enemy's hull. Our shields can redirect energy attacks back at whoever fired them. And those are just the systems we're willing to demonstrate today." The Hive Queen spoke in her clicking language, which the station's computers translated. "She asks if Earth's agricultural exports were also deception," came the mechanical voice. Lisa nodded. "Partly. Earth really does produce excellent food, and we're happy to share it. But every shipment also contained scanning devices and biological sensors. We've been mapping every world in Council space for decades. We know the location of every military base, every ship construction facility, and every defensive position in the galaxy." "You've been spying on us," Admiral Kane said, but his voice lacked its usual anger. He sounded more amazed than offended. "We've been protecting you," Lisa corrected. "Human ships have been patrolling the dark spaces between stars for 50 years. We've eliminated threats that you never even knew existed. Pirates, raiders, and worse things that come from outside the galaxy. Earth's primitive patrol ships destroyed 17 separate invasion attempts before they could reach Council space." Dr. Foster's voice became more serious. "Which brings us to the Void Swarm. We detected them 6 months ago, long before they reached the Outer Rim. We've been studying their technology and tactics. They're not just destroyers. They're harvesters, preparing the galaxy for something much larger that's coming behind them." Chairman Vextar looked directly at Lisa. "If Earth has such powerful ships, why did you not offer to help earlier?" "Because," Lisa said, "we hoped the Council's combined fleets would be enough. We wanted to remain hidden as long as possible. But the Void Swarm is too dangerous for the galaxy to face without Earth's help." Admiral Stone's voice carried a note of steel. "The Swarm expects to fight conventional ships with predictable weapons. They have no defense against matter phase attacks or dimensional weapons. But more importantly, they don't know we exist. Surprise will be our greatest advantage." The chamber remained quiet for several minutes as the alien ambassadors tried to process what they had learned. Their weakest member had just revealed itself to be their strongest protector. The species they had dismissed and mocked was offering to save them all. Finally, Vextar spoke. "What do you require from the Council?" Lisa's smile was warm, but her words were firm. "Partnership. Real partnership. No more talk of protection agreements or junior memberships. Earth will help save the galaxy, but afterward, we want a voice in how it's governed." "And if we refuse?" Admiral Kane asked, though his voice suggested he already knew the answer. "Admiral," Stone responded immediately, "then Earth will defend itself and let the galaxy burn. But I don't think it will come to that. You need us now, and we've always wanted to be your friends. This is just the first time we're meeting as equals." Admiral Kane stared at the view screen showing the massive human fleet surrounding the station. His blue face had gone pale, and his silver hair seemed to have lost its shine. "You want proof of your capabilities," he said slowly. "Show us what your ships can really do." Admiral Stone's voice came through the speakers with what sounded like amusement. Very well. USS Freedom, please demonstrate our mining capabilities on asteroid designation Kappa 7. Everyone in the chamber turned to look at the view screen. Kappa 7 was a large asteroid that had been orbiting the station for years. It was about the size of a small moon, made of solid iron and rock. The Council sometimes used it for target practice, but it was too big for their weapons to do more than scratch the surface. A sleek human ship moved toward the asteroid. It was smaller than the USS Liberty, but still larger than most alien cruisers. The ship stopped about a kilometer away from the asteroid and extended what looked like a simple beam projector. "Firing gravitational disruptor," came the voice of Captain Dan Miller from the Freedom. A thin beam of energy shot from the human ship toward the asteroid. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then the massive rock began to glow. The glow spread across its entire surface, and the asteroid started to shake. Suddenly, the asteroid collapsed in on itself. But it didn't just break apart like normal. It formed a tiny black point of light that pulled all the debris into itself. Within seconds, the entire asteroid had been compressed into a ball no bigger than a person's fist. Then the black point disappeared, taking all the asteroid material with it. "Gravitational disruptor deactivated," Captain Miller reported. "Asteroid has been converted to contain dark matter and safely disposed of in dimensional storage." The chamber was so quiet that Lisa could hear her own heartbeat. Finally, the Hive Queen made a series of clicks that the translator converted to, "How is this possible?" Dr. Foster's voice answered from the fleet. "Humans learned that gravity isn't just a force that pulls things together. It's a fundamental aspect of space-time itself. If you understand how space-time works, you can manipulate gravity to do whatever you need. We can make objects heavier, lighter, or even exist outside normal space entirely." Ambassador Zara from the Etherian Collective spoke up. "Your Agricultural Research Division has been working on weapons technology?" "Among other things," Amy said with a laugh. "Agriculture is really just applied biology and chemistry. Biology and chemistry are just applied physics. Physics is just applied mathematics, and mathematics is the language of the universe itself. Once you understand that everything is connected, you can improve everything." Chairman Vextar leaned forward. "What other improvements have you made?" "Our communication systems use quantum entanglement across parallel dimensions," Admiral Stone explained. "We can send messages instantly to any point in the galaxy. Our sensors can detect ships hiding behind stars or in different phases of reality. Our computers process information using artificial quantum consciousness." Lisa decided it was time to reveal something that would really shock them. "The communication device I've been using for 3 years? It's not just a radio. It's a quantum processor more powerful than the Council's entire computer network. Every time I've attended a meeting, I've been recording and analyzing everything you've said and done." Admiral Kane's mouth fell open. "You've been spying on us during every council session?" "We've been learning from you," Lisa corrected. "Understanding how you think, how you make decisions, how you react to threats. Humans are very good at reading people, even alien people. We've developed detailed psychological profiles of every council member." Dr. Foster's voice became more serious. "Which is how we know that most of you are followers, not leaders. You look for the strongest group and align yourselves with them. Right now, you think that's either the Saurians or the Centauri Federation. But you're wrong. The strongest group is Earth," Admiral Stone said simply. "It always has been. We just chose not to prove it until now." Vextar's yellow eyes narrowed. "If humans are so powerful, why reveal yourselves now? Why not continue to hide and let others fight your battles?" Lisa had been waiting for this question. "Because the Void Swarm isn't just a threat to the outer rim worlds. They're moving toward the galactic core in a specific pattern. Our analysis shows they're clearing a path for something much larger." "Something larger?" Ambassador Zara asked. Admiral Stone's voice became grim. "We believe the swarm is preparing the galaxy for invasion by an extra-galactic force. Something from outside our galaxy entirely. The swarm destroys local defenses and maps strong points. Then the real invasion force arrives to claim empty territory." "How do you know this?" Admiral Kane demanded. "Because," Dr. Foster said, "this isn't the first time it's happened. Human deep space archaeology has found evidence of similar events in other galaxies. Entire civilizations wiped out by the same pattern, first the swarm, then the conquerors." The chamber erupted in worried voices as the different species talked among themselves. The idea of threats from outside the galaxy was terrifying enough. The thought that it had happened before, to other civilizations, made it worse. Lisa raised her hand for silence. Earth could handle the void swarm alone. Our ships are more than capable of destroying them. But if we fight alone, the real invasion, Force will know about us when they arrive. We would rather fight alongside our friends and face the larger threat together. Friends? Vextar asked. After 50 years of deception, you call us friends? Yes, Lisa said firmly. Because we could have conquered all of you at any time. But we chose not to. We could have taken your worlds, enslaved your people, and ruled the galaxy with an iron fist. Instead, we traded with you, learned from you, and protected you without asking for anything in return except friendship. Admiral Stone's voice carried a note of pride. Earth has never started a war with another species. We've ended several, usually by making it clear to aggressors that attacking Council worlds would be a very bad idea. But we always gave them a chance to withdraw peacefully first. Dr. Foster added, the pirates and raiders that used to plague trade routes between systems, they stopped coming because human ships started patrolling those routes. We just did it quietly, without taking credit or asking for payment. Ambassador Zara spoke thoughtfully. You protected us without us knowing. Why? Because that's what friends do, Lisa said simply. They look out for each other. Earth has been looking out for the galaxy for 2 centuries. Now we're asking the galaxy to stand with us when something even worse comes calling. Admiral Kane was studying the tactical displays showing the human fleet. Your ships? How many do you really have? Enough, Admiral Stone said. More than enough to handle the void swarm. But we'll need everyone's help to face what comes after. United, the galaxy can survive anything. Divided, we'll fall one by one. Chairman Vextar stood up slowly. What do you propose? Lisa smiled. A new alliance. Not one where strong species protect weak ones, but one where equals work together. Earth will share some of our technology to upgrade Council ships. In return, the Council species will share their knowledge and resources to help prepare for the real war that's coming. Some of your technology? Admiral Kane asked. We're not going to hand over our most advanced weapons, Admiral Stone said with amusement, but we can upgrade your ships with better shields, sensors, and engines, enough to make the combined fleet a real threat to anything that wants to invade our galaxy. Dr. Foster's voice became warm. Think of it as a cultural exchange program. We'll teach you some of our tricks, and you can teach us yours. Humans are always eager to learn new things. The alien ambassadors looked at each other uncertainly. Everything they thought they knew about the galaxy had just changed. The weakest member of their alliance had revealed itself to be the strongest. Their protectors had been protecting them all along. Finally, Vextar spoke for all of them. We accept your proposal, Ambassador Carter, but we want to see more of Earth's capabilities before we face this swarm together. Lisa nodded. Admiral Stone, please show our new partners what they'll be fighting alongside. With pleasure came the reply. All ships, begin full demonstration protocol. Let's show the galaxy what humanity can really do. 3 weeks later, the combined fleet of humans and Council species arrived at the edge of the galaxy, where the Void Swarm was massing for their next attack. Lisa Carter stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty next to Admiral Stone, watching the tactical displays show enemy positions. The swarm was massive. Thousands of dark ships moved through space like living creatures, their hulls seeming to absorb light itself. They had consumed 17 worlds since the Council first met to discuss the threat. Each victory made them stronger and more confident. They have no idea we're here, reported Captain Dan Miller from his position at the sensor station. Their technology can't detect our stealth systems. Admiral Stone nodded grimly. That's about to change. All ships, prepare for revelation strike. Target their command vessels first. Lisa watched as human ships began to decloak throughout the swarm. Formation. The enemy had expected to face conventional vessels with predictable weapons. Instead, they found themselves surrounded by ships that could appear and disappear at will, weapons that could target individual molecules, and shields that could redirect energy attacks back at their sources. The first salvo from the human fleet was devastating. Gravitational disruptors collapsed entire swarm ships into tiny points of dark matter. Dimensional cannons fired through normal space to strike targets in parallel realities. Matter phase weapons passed through the swarm's shields as if they didn't exist. But the Void Swarm was not defenseless. They began to adapt their tactics, clustering their ships together and using some kind of shared intelligence system to coordinate their response. Dark energy beams lashed out at the human vessels, and some actually managed to cause damage. "Hull breach on Deck 7, reported Lieutenant Sarah Blake from the damage control station. "Sealing now." "They're learning," Admiral Stone observed. "Signal the Council ships to begin their attack runs." The alien vessels had been upgraded with human technology over the past 3 weeks. Saurian battlecruisers now moved with impossible speed thanks to dimensional engines. Centauri fighters had shields that could deflect attacks from multiple directions. Even the peaceful Etherian ships carried weapons that could disrupt enemy communications. The battle raged across 3 star systems as the swarm tried to retreat toward the galactic core. But everywhere they went, human ships were waiting. The enemy found themselves trapped in a carefully planned ambush that had been months in the making. "Admiral," came Captain Miller's voice from his ship, "the USS Freedom. We're detecting something new. Large contacts approaching from deep space." Lisa felt her stomach drop. "The real invasion force?" "Negative," Miller replied. "These are swarm ships, but much larger. Command vessels, I think. They're trying to organize a retreat." Admiral Stone's eyes hardened. "Not on my watch. All ships target the command vessels. We end this here and now." The USS Liberty led the charge toward the largest enemy ship, a massive black vessel that seemed to bend space around itself. Its hull was covered in strange markings that hurt to look at directly, and it radiated a cold that could be felt even through the ship's shields. "That thing is 2 kilometers long," reported the sensor officer. "Our weapons are having trouble penetrating its hull." "Then we'll get closer," Admiral Stone said calmly. "Helm, take us inside their defensive perimeter. All weapons, continuous. Fire." The Liberty phased through the swarm's defensive formations like a ghost ship. Energy beams that should have destroyed them passed harmlessly through the hull. When they solidified again, they were close enough to target specific sections of the command ship. "Firing dimensional cannon," announced the weapons officer. "Direct hit on what looks like their bridge section." The massive swarm ship began to list to one side, dark energy bleeding from the wound in its hull. Other human ships converged on the remaining command vessels, their combined firepower overwhelming the enemy's defenses. Suddenly, the swarm ships began to withdraw. Not just retreating, but actually disappearing from normal space entirely. Within minutes, the vast enemy fleet had vanished, leaving behind only empty space and the wreckage of their destroyed vessels. "Where did they go?" Admiral Kane asked, over the communication system from his upgraded Centauri cruiser. Dr. Foster's voice answered from her research ship. "Dimensional retreat. They've pulled back to a parallel reality where they can regroup and plan their next move." "Can we follow them?" Chairman Vextar inquired from the Saurian flagship. "We could," Admiral Stone said, "but it would be dangerous. Fighting in parallel dimensions requires technology that even we haven't fully mastered. Better to let them retreat and prepare for their return." Lisa stepped forward to address the fleet. "This was just the beginning. The real invasion force is still out there, probably watching and learning from what happened here. But today proved something important. United, the galaxy can defend itself against any threat." Over the next several hours, the combined fleet searched the battlefield for survivors and intelligence. They found something unexpected in the wreckage of the largest command ship, a message, transmitted in a language that no species had ever seen before. "It's addressed to us," Dr. Foster reported after analyzing the transmission, "specifically to humanity." "What does it say?" Admiral Stone asked. Amy's voice was troubled when she answered. "It's a greeting and a warning. The message says that the senders have been watching Earth for a long time. They're impressed by our technology and want to meet us face to face." "That doesn't sound like a threat," Chairman Vextar observed. "It's not," Amy replied. "But the message also says that Earth's ability to hide among primitive species shows great skill. They want to offer us a place in their empire in exchange for helping them conquer the galaxy." The communication channels fell silent as everyone processed this information. The real enemy wasn't just trying to invade the galaxy, they were trying to recruit humanity to help them do it. Admiral Stone's voice cut through the silence. Send a reply. Tell them that Earth already has allies, and we don't abandon our friends. Sir, Captain Miller interjected, should we really antagonize them? We don't know how powerful they are. We know how powerful we are, Admiral Stone replied firmly. And we know that the galaxy is worth defending. Send the message. Lisa smiled as she watched the human and alien ships working together to secure the battlefield. For 50 years, Earth had pretended to be weak while secretly growing strong. Now they were finally showing their true nature to the galaxy, but this victory was just the beginning. Somewhere in the dark spaces between galaxies, an ancient empire was planning their next move. They had learned that humanity was more than they appeared to be, and that the galaxy would not be conquered easily. Admiral, Lisa said quietly. What happens next? Admiral Stone looked out at the stars where human and alien ships were flying in formation together. Next, we go home and prepare. The real war is coming, and when it arrives, we'll be ready. All of us together. The galaxy doesn't know how lucky it is, Lisa observed. Lucky to have us protecting them? Lucky that we chose to be the good guys, Lisa corrected. With our technology, we could have conquered everyone and ruled as emperors. Instead, we chose to be friends and guardians. Admiral Stone nodded slowly. That's what makes us human. We could have taken the galaxy by force, but we'd rather earn it through friendship. And when someone threatens our friends, they threaten us. As the combined fleet began its journey home, Lisa thought about the long road that had brought them to this moment. Earth's great deception was over, but their greater mission was just beginning. The galaxy now knew that humanity was strong, but more importantly, they knew that humans were good. The real test would come when the ancient empire arrived with their full force. But Lisa wasn't worried. Earth had spent 2 centuries preparing for this moment, and they wouldn't be fighting alone. The galaxy finally knew what Earth had been holding back, and now, together, they would face whatever came next.